All right, all right. Welcome everybody. It's Mike Peterson coming to you live. It is Wealthy Wednesday. Wealthy Wednesday. Listen, it is the last Wealthy Wednesday of the year because next Wednesday is Christmas. And so I might be here, but I know you won't. And so, but you know what? Next week may be a good time to do it because after everyone has had their festivities and eaten all their food, they're going to be sitting around looking for a word from the Lord. Amen. So listen, I hope your week has been amazing. I hope your day has been fantastic. I know mine has. You all know the routine. Let me know, where are you logging in from? Columbus, Ohio is where I am. Tell me where you're logging in from. Let's go strong for the last Wealthy Wednesday. Are you in Ohio, Tennessee, Texas, California, Delaware? Where are you logging in from? Let me know. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. And so I'll give people an opportunity to jump on. But listen, it is the end of the year, and we are getting ready to go into 2025. We're going to do kind of a recap of a message that we did throughout the year, and I'm gonna hit it fast, and I'm gonna hit it hard. And if you're taking notes, you want to get some notes because we want to give you 8 keys. Say 8 keys. Put 8 keys in the chat. Just write 8 keys. We want to give you 8 keys to make sure that 2025 is the best year ever, right? I'm gonna give you 8 keys that are gonna guarantee that 2025 is your best year ever. Now, so what that means is you have to complete these things before 2024 ends. So today is the 18th. So we have literally like 13 days for you to do some homework, for you to get things completed. And so that 2025 is your best year ever. 2025 is the best year ever. Write it in the text. Write it in the chat. My 2025 will be the best year ever. My 2025 will be the best year ever. I'm telling you, right? So drum roll, let's get going. Let's go. We're going to give you 8 keys to guarantee that 2025 is your best year ever. Let me take a little bit of ice. For y'all that aren't hip to ice, get your ice and get you the lemonade. The lemonade is the best flavor ever. It tastes like the most authentic. So let me give you a little sip of ice. All right. And so listen, let's get going. 8 keys to guarantee that your 2025 is the best year ever. The first key is you must discover your purpose. You must discover your purpose. Now, watch this. Purpose means the reason that you exist. The reason that you exist. You may be 15, 20, 25, 30 years old or older, but if you do not know your purpose, if you don't know why God created you and what he made you to do not leave 2024 going into 2025 not knowing what your purpose is, right? Now, throughout this, year, I've told you that we wrote this course on discovering your God-given purpose. We said go over to zerotopurpose.com, right? And so, but in that course, there are 3, I call it the purpose trifecta. Number 1, our purpose is to glorify God, which glory means the reputation of God. So we were created to be the literal representation and the reputation of God in the earth. When lower forms of creation look at us, they're supposed to see the literal reputation of God. That's why we're made in the image and likeness of God. Number 2, we're to live from the kingdom of heaven. But then number 3, we're to dominate through our unique gifting and assignment, right? And so that's where you want to go into 2025, really discovering What is your unique difference? What's your unique gifting and assignment? What are you gifted to do? What are you good at? What are you able to offer to the world that others can't offer? Others can't do it the way you do it. What's that thing that you're just good at, that you're able to do that no one else can do? What's your unique gifting and assignment? What is it that you're assigned to do? See, that's where your purpose lies. Do not leave 2024. Do not leave 2024 not knowing what your unique gifting and assignment is. You owe it to yourself. 2025 cannot be the best year ever if you really go into it repeating 2024. And if you don't know your purpose, if you don't know your unique gifting and assignment, you're going to repeat 2024. And you're going to expect a different outcome in 2025, but it's not going to happen because you're going to make the same moves, the same mistakes. You're going to have the same expectations that you had in 2024. And so to change, to make 2025 the best year ever, you must not leave 2024 without knowing your purpose. What is your unique gifting and assignment? What is it that you're able to do that others just cannot do the way you do it? Take some time to discover those things, right? And so, like for example, to help you discover your purpose, what are the things, what things that disdain you, they give you great disdain. When you look at society, what gives you just disdain in your heart? When you look at what's going on in the earth, what gives you disdain? That's a clue to your purpose. What things are you always called to get involved in to fix? What do people call you for? Always asking your input and your help. That gives you clues to your purpose, to your unique gifting and assignment, right? What fires do you find yourself helping people put out on a regular basis, right? So you exist to solve a particular problem. So what are you often invited to get involved in to solve the problems? You know what I mean? What are people always reaching out and asking you for help with to solve problems, right? What are you constantly celebrated for? What's your name known for? You see, those are clues to your unique gifting and assignment. And so you do not want to go into 2025. Take some time. If you don't know what those answers are, people who are close to you, take some time and ask them questions. Hey, what do you see my unique gifting and assignment being? What do you see in me that others are always pulling on? See, sometimes you can't see it because it's like so close to you. Ask those who are closest to you. How do you see me always being pulled on? How do you see people pulling on me? How do you see people tapping into my difference or my unique gifting and assignment? You know, talk to me. Tell me how are people really pulling on me? Ask people around you who are closest to you, right? Those are clues. That's how you discover your unique gifting and assignment. Do not leave 2024 without knowing your unique gifting and assignment, your purpose, without understanding how to live from the kingdom of heaven. You got 13 days, right? You got 13 days. Set some time away. Look, get a notepad. Begin to write out answers to these questions so that 2025 becomes the best year that you've ever had, right? Key number 2. We said key number 1 is to know your purpose, right? The fact that you were made to glorify God, to live from the kingdom, and to dominate from your unique gifting and assignment. Number two, the second key to make sure 2025 is the best year ever is to know your difference. To know your difference. What separates you from me? What makes you different in how you do what you do versus how I do what I do. Know your difference. Know your difference. Know what makes you stand out, even from someone who does what you do. There's going to be a difference. How many preachers, pastors, apostles, evangelists, prophets are existing in the earth, but everyone operates differently? Know your difference. Know your difference. Know what separates you from the next person who does what you do. No one does what you do the way you do it. And lean into your difference. Know your difference and put some definition to it. Don't go into 2025 not understanding your difference. Because in 2025, I want you to be intentional to live from your difference. Perfect your difference. Become very, very good at delivering what you do according to your difference. Don't try to mimic someone else who's doing what you do. Don't try to do it the way they do it. Don't try to sound like them. Don't try to look like them. Become the best you that you can be, and then learn how to maximize your difference. Type in the chat, maximize your difference. Maximize your difference. You must maximize your difference going into 2025. But you can't maximize what you don't know. If you don't take time to discover and to put it on paper and put some definition to your difference, you won't function according to your difference. You'll continue to try to look like and replicate what someone else is doing. And here are 4 indicators of your difference. This is going to sound familiar as I go through these. Number 1 is training. What have you been trained to do that has brought value to your life that you can share with others, right? What have you been trained to do? What have you been trained to do? I'm in sales, right? And though there are thousands of people who are in sales, there are millions of people who are in sales, all of us have gone through different training. And all of us have viewed the training differently. So my difference, right, is how it filters through my personality, through my delivery, through my comprehension and understanding of what I've learned, my ability to navigate and use it and joust with the people that are sitting in front of me. That's my difference. I'm going to deliver everything differently than the next man or woman. And so what have you been trained to do that has brought value to your life? Don't ever discount the value of your training. As big or small as you may consider it to be, it's invaluable to you because it's what makes up your difference. Number 2, teaching. What have you excelled in that you can teach others to do? What have you excelled in that you can teach others to do? I'll give you a glimpse of me. I've been married for 34 years, and I would venture to say my marriage is very successful. You may call it a boast. I call it a fact. Why? Because through 34 years, we've learned to go through the difficulties, the ups, the downs, the peaks, the valleys, the good days, the bad days. And through that, we've learned to dwell together with each other at a level 10. If 1 is miserable and 10 is you're just blissful, we've learned to level or dwell at a level 10. Now, over 34 years of success in that, I think I know a few things that I can share and teach others to do to get their marriage to a 10. So guess what? I'm in 2025, I must lean into that to make 2025 my best year ever. Oh yeah, because see, that's my difference. Some people are great at deliverance. Some people are great at going out into the streets and evangelizing. Some people are good at so many different things. That's their difference. They've been taught to do things, and they're able to take that teaching and they're able to teach others to do it. What have you been taught? What have you learned? What have you excelled in that you can teach others to do? Discover that, write it down, be intentional to put it on paper so that you do not go into 2025 not knowing what that is and having it written on paper. If you do not do it, 2025 is going to be a repeat of 2024. Third thing, testing. What trials have you overcome that others are going through that you can help them through? Again, I'll use me. In 34 years, do you think my wife and I have not gone through trials? In our early years, we went through trials. In our middle years, we went through trials. But here's the deal. The trials that were in the first 10 years of our marriage were different than the trials in the second 10. See, in the first 10, the trials, many of them were self-inflicted because I was making mistakes. I was making bad decisions. I was doing things that I shouldn't have done. I was making decisions that weren't best for our marriage. But in the second 10 years, when we decided that, okay, we're going to make this intentional effort to be better, now the trials come from outside of my household. The enemy now wants to bust us up because in the first 10 years, he had me. In the second 10, I made a decision that Jesus is going to be Lord of my life. Now the enemy wants to try to bust up what God has joined together. So you understand. And so now the battle, the challenges, the trials were different in the early stages versus what was in the middle. And now we're in the third decade of our marriage. And so the trials are again different because we're in a different season. And so the trials are therefore different. So guess what? We've overcome the trials in every decade. And so therefore, others who are earlier in their marriage and even where we are in our marriage who don't have the skill set, we can help them through those trials. And so in 2025, I have to be intentional to make my year the best ever by literally leaning in to be able to help others make a difference in their lives, in their marriages. I hope this is helping you. Number 4, technology. What information have you discovered that others would find valuable? See, what information over these 34 years, what information, whether it be scriptural. See, I learned some things scripturally, some principles in the kingdom that have enabled us to dwell at that 10. What information, what technology have I discovered and that you've discovered over the course of your life that others would find valuable, right? And so I'll use me again. Over the course of my life, God has shown me the mystery of the bride. The mystery of the bride. You see, the Bible opens with a wedding and the Bible closes with a wedding. And from Genesis to Revelation, the Bible is a book about a father looking for a bride for his son. And so in the first chapter or the first book of the Bible, God creates and desires a family through Adam, who is the first son. And so that's why Christ is called the second Adam. And so he said that it wasn't good for Adam to be alone because therefore he needed a helpmeet to help him with the assignment that the Father had given him. And so we are the bride to Christ, right? And so we are to be the helpmeet to fulfill the purposes of Christ. Well, all of that is like really something that the natural marriage is really used in the hand of God to teach us, to help us to understand that eternal marriage that Christ is coming back to establish. And so in that, there are some principles in Scripture that will help your marriage catapult, right? And the trajectory to just go in a direction that you never thought possible. Well, so those are technologies. That's information that we've discovered that others will find extremely valuable. And that's just one of many, right? And so, right, watch this. So in your difference, what are the things that you've been trained in? What are the things that you've been taught that you can teach others? What are the areas of testing that you've endured, that you've overcome, that you now can help others get through? What are the things that you've learned, the technology that you've discovered that others will find valuable? That's how you really discover your difference. Your difference. That's number 2. Number 3, what's the third key? Learn to open doors for your difference. Once you discover your difference, don't sit back and wait for others to make it happen for you. You are responsible for your success. Type in the chat, I'm responsible for my success. I know that's long, but type it in the chat. I'm responsible for my own success. So you got to learn to open doors for your difference. And here's how you do it. Number 1 is that you must learn to hear and heed to the instructions of our Father, of our Heavenly Father. Because he says this, lean not to your own understanding, but in all of your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. So he already knows the doors that you're to walk through. He already knows where the opportunities lie. He already knows the end from the beginning. But we must learn to heed to the instructions of the Father, right? And so in the mornings when you get up, spend time with him. In the mornings when you get up to spend time with him, write down the questions that you may have for the Father. And then ask those questions and then be quiet and allow the Father to speak to you to give you answers to the questions that you're asking. Yeah. So learn to take heed to the instructions of the Father. That's number 1. We're talking about learning to open doors for your difference. See, he says, I know the plans that I have for you. He knows the plans that he has. He knows the paths that he wants to lead you down. But if we don't take heed to his instructions, we never arrive at the doors that he has for us. And so we never walk through open doors because we rarely arrive at the door, because he wants to direct the path. And so as long as we are directing our paths, we may not ever reach the doors. And so we want to learn to take heed to the instructions of the Father. Number 2, you want to stop hesitating to move in what he instructs you. When you write down your questions and the Father begins to give you answers, don't hesitate to move in the instruction. Come on. We're praying for miracles, but God is not necessarily going to give you a miracle. He's going to give you an instruction. And when you follow the instruction, the result may look miraculous. Come on, people. It's simple. He's going to give you an instruction. And when you follow the instruction, the outcome will look like a miracle. But you gotta stop hesitating to move in what God instructs you to do. Number 1, you gotta hear him, and you gotta take heed to the instruction, and then you gotta stop hesitating to move. Stop second guessing. Stop hesitating, right? Move in what you hear. And so type in the chat, stop hesitating. Stop hesitating, right? Stop hesitating. And then number 3, you want to develop the heart of a servant leader. Develop the heart of a servant leader. Remember this, whatever you make happen for others, God will make happen for you. I can't tell you how many marriages God has used my wife and I to rescue. I can't even number them. So therefore, whatever I make happen for others, God makes happen for me. My marriage is at a 10 because we've strived and labored to bring other marriages to a 10. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? And so develop the heart of a servant leader. You must lead in you making your life the best that it could ever be. But don't ever forget that you are first a servant. Jesus says, I didn't come to be served. I came to serve. It was Jesus who washed the feet of his servants, right? Because he was demonstrating to them that he was a servant leader. Too many people are leaders, but not servants. And so you must develop the heart of a servant leader. Don't ever ask someone to do what you're not willing to do yourself. No one should ever sacrifice more for your vision than you're willing to sacrifice. No one should ever be willing to put more into your vision than you're willing to put into it. You must be a servant leader. Put in the chat, I am a servant leader. I'm a servant leader. All right. So that's number 3. We're talking about learning to open doors. Number 1, heed to the instructions of the Father. Number 2, don't hesitate to move in what God instructs you to do. Number 3, develop the heart of a servant leader. And then number 4 is learn to discern what can be delegated so that you can free yourself up toward moving in the destination. So just put in the chat, learn to delegate. Watch this. When I was playing sports, my coaches always had me focusing on the things that I didn't do well. So if I couldn't dribble with my left hand well, they said, okay, we know you can go right, but I need you to learn to go left, right? And so in sports, we're taught to focus on developing the weaknesses to the point of it being a detriment when we get to life and business. So in business, don't spend a lot of time. In your vision, don't spend a lot of time. In your ministry, don't spend a lot of time. In your assignment, don't spend a lot of time dwelling on your weaknesses, the things that you're not good at. Instead, I want you to learn to delegate those things that you're not very good at so that you can focus on becoming a master of what you are good at. Come on now. Come on. And so, because if you maximize mastering your strengths, you become so good at delivering your strengths that you can earn substantially enough to pay someone else to do what you're not good at. So therefore, you learn to delegate and discern what you can delegate so that it frees you up to move in your destination and move toward your destination. It gives you the ability to move in what you're good at so that you become great at it, so that you become a master of it. Come on now. And so type into the chat, master my strengths, or master your strengths. You want to learn to master your strengths. Don't spend a lot of time on your weaknesses. Learn to master your areas of strength, because that will afford you the ability to earn enough to pay someone to do those things that you're not good at. And so that's number 4. The 4th key is that you must make proof of your ministry, right? You must make proof of your ministry. If you say that your assignment, your purpose is XYZ, your difference is XYZ, your unique gifting and assignment is ABC. It's like, make proof of that. Make proof of that every day. And here's how you do it. 3 things, simple. Take every opportunity to serve your market. Take every opportunity. This is how you make proof of your ministry. Why is it so important that you make proof of your ministry? You want to become known as the go-to person for the area of your unique assignment and purpose. You want to become the go-to. See, there was a time in our ministry where we were doing a program in the city of Columbus called 10 Days at the Altar. We called it Back to the Altar. And it was 10 Fridays where we taught on the mystery of the bride and connected it to the natural marriage. And it was a crusade that we did for maybe 2 years. And it gained such traction in the city that pastors began to reach out to us, and they would send us some of their most troubled cases that were in their ministry. And so we would sit and counsel the people, bring them to wholeness, and then they would ask the question, hey, when is your Sunday service? What time does it start? And I would ask them, why? Oh, because we want to come. And I'm like, nope, you go back to the church that sent you. The pastor trusted us enough to bring you to wholeness. See, the pastor saw you at your place of brokenness, at your place of dysfunction, at your place of woundedness. Now, as you are now whole, go back to that pastor, whole, healthy, right? Strong. Let them experience the best you. But my point is this, because we were making proof of our ministry, we were making proof of it. We were taking opportunities to serve our market. We became known as the go-to to fix your marriage. So it's important that you make proof of your ministry. And the number one way of doing that is taking opportunities to serve those that you say are your assignment. Number two, always be intentional to bring positive change to others. Always be intentional to bring positive change to others. If you're touching people with your difference, if you're touching people with your unique assignment, you should be making positive change to other people. People should leave your experience better than how they showed up. You should be a filler of their cup and not an emptier of their cup. So bring positive change to others. Number three, don't give up when you experience adversities, because adversities are going to come. The Father says that many are the afflictions of the righteous, but he'll deliver you out of them all. And so he says, count it joy when you find yourself in diverse temptations. So when don't give up when you experience adversities. This is how you make proof of your ministry. And here's what you got to understand. Whatever you're called to address, expect to have adversity in that area. Because whatever you're sent to address, the enemy is going to attack you when you start addressing it. And so don't give up when you begin to experience those adversities, all right? So that's how you make proof of the ministry. Number one, take every opportunity to serve the market. Number two, bring positive change to other people. And number three, don't give up when you experience adversities, all right? Let's get to the fifth key. This is so important. Guard your agreements. All right, now I'm going to say this. Leaving 2024, there are some folk you may need to leave in 2024. There are some, now hear me. I'm not talking about married folk. No. I'm talking about relationships outside of covenant that have not served you well in 2024. They've led you down pathways that were not good and they were not of God. You need to let those agreements go. There are some relationships that you're in. There are some business connections that you have that were not the best for you. And you need to make some real good decisions, because the Bible says in Psalms chapter 1, it says, blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the way of the sinner, nor sits in the seat of the scornful, right? But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in the law of the Lord does he meditate day and night. That man shall be like, come on, y'all get it. Do not be led by ungodly counsel in 2025. Guard your agreements. Who are you doing business with? Who are you in relationship with? Who are you spending tons of time with? Guard your agreements. Take inventory of relationships that you've had, and take inventory of how vested you want to be in those relationships in 2025. You say, well, I don't want to think that I'm better than someone. I didn't say that you were. But if the relationship or the agreements haven't served you, haven't pushed you to be the best you, then take inventory of those relationships, those agreements, because you got to guard your agreements. Because he says, blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But your delight must be in the law of the Lord. And those people who have that same delight, who are speaking into you from that same vantage point, who are encouraging you in the things that God's called you to, you want to make agreements in those areas. Come on now. We're talking about making 2025 the best year. So type in the chat, guard your agreements. Guard your agreements. Put that in the chat. All right, number 6. The 6th key to making 2025 the best year ever. Recognize your surrogates. What is a surrogate? A surrogate is a person appointed to act on behalf of another. A surrogate is a person appointed to act on behalf of another. When we think about surrogates, we think about mothers, because people who are unable to give birth to a child themselves, they will hire the services of a surrogate, where the seed of the husband and the egg of the wife is planted by a doctor in the womb of the surrogate. And the surrogate literally carries the baby to term and gives birth to the baby and hands it back over to the parents, right? Watch this. And so you must recognize those who God has touched, who are helping you to carry the vision that's in you. There are going to be surrogates that get excited about what you're called to do. And so here's what you got to understand. Some will fight what you fight, right? Some will get into the fight and help you fight what you're fighting. But once the fight is over, they'll leave you. Don't let that throw you in a tizzy. They were only there for a season. There are people who are going to show up, and as long as this particular fight is your fight, they're going to fight with you. They're going to fight for you. They're going to fight alongside of you. And once that's no longer your fight, they're out, because they were only there to help you fight that fight. You got to understand who they were. They were not a surrogate, right? They were just there to help you fight the fight. And then there are some who will help you in a particular cause. You have a cause, right, that you're trying to accomplish. And so they will help you in that cause. But once that cause is no longer your cause, they're going to leave you, because they were there for the cause. And once the cause is no longer your cause, they have no reason for being there. So they're going to go somewhere else where someone else has picked up that cause, and they're going to put their hands to that plow. So you must be okay when they stay for a season and then they're gone. And so, but then there are those who are there for you and God's purpose that's in you. And so these people love you. These people will encourage you. These people will defend you. These people will believe in you. These people will sacrifice for you. These people will cry with you. They will laugh with you. They will rejoice with you. They will even suffer with you. Why? Because these people are surrogates. They are there to carry and act on your behalf. They're helping to carry the baby that's inside of you, the baby that you're attempting to birth. They're helping to carry it. But you must recognize surrogates, and you're not going to have a lot of them. You're not going to have a lot of them. So don't look for there to be 10, 15 surrogates. You won't find that many, right? And so when you do recognize them, love on them, appreciate them. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that you appreciate them, because you got to recognize the surrogate, because they will help you have the best 2025 that you've ever had, the best year that you've ever had. All right. Number 7, you got to press in for the best 2025. You got to press in for the blessing. You got to press in for it. You got to write it down, make it plain, and then every day do what's necessary to bring it to pass. Right? You gotta every day. You gotta press in for it. Don't, here's how you do it. Don't get distracted by the enemy's provocations. The enemy is going to show up to battle you, to try to get you to stop. Don't get distracted by those provocations. Don't get distracted by the difficulties. Don't get distracted when you see others succeeding, and it may take you a little bit more effort to get that locomotive moving. Don't get distracted and be disheartened when you see heathens that may look like they're prospering. And you're going, Lord, I love you. I'm trying to do all this right for you. I'm trying to do it the way you're telling me to do it. But this heathen over here is not even serving you. But their Instagram is blowing up, and their YouTube channel has 100,000 subs, and their Facebook page is. Come on, don't get distracted by the provocations. Don't. You just stay focused. All right. Number 2, you want to commit to what you want most. Commit it to God. Give it back to God. In other words, let God direct on how you're supposed to do it. Line up how you're doing with the ways that God would tell you to do it. Give it back to him. It's not for you to blow it up and make it grow. He says, unto him who's able to do exceeding abundantly above what you ask or think. Commit it back to God. Meditate on it. See it done. See it done. See it exploding. See it being bigger than what you've ever imagined. Give it back to God. Commit it to God. And then only use it to advance the things of God. See, that's committing your vision, your assignment. Committing it back to God is making sure that I'm using it for the purposes of advancing the kingdom of God, advancing the will of God. Jesus says, this is how you pray. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Thy kingdom come, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. Where? On earth as it is in heaven. Make sure that you're utilizing your assignment and your gifting for the purposes of